Thank you very much. Thank you, and great to be here. Thanks for your interest. I don't know if you know, who of you knows Accenture? Oh, okay, quite some arms going up. I'm surprised. We, in Accenture, for those who don't know us, we are helping the leading companies in the world to reinvent themselves on the basis of technology. That's what we do. We are a very large organization with 750,000 people. I'm one of them, 30 years with the company. And I want to talk a bit about today about our technology vision. The technology vision is a research paper, a publication that we do on a yearly basis, which we publish after talking to thousands of business leaders and consumers and working with our research labs. And in hindsight, it has proven quite accurate. This year, the theme was human by design. I think what was special this year is that also from my perspective, technology is moving faster than ever before. I'm doing a bit of experiment with you now because the technology vision was already published in January this year. So we are nearly in December. So let's see how much of this has already materialized and how much is it still coming and what you think, how far we were right. So the overarching theme, which I think is very, very relevant and touches me as well personally, is human by design. That's the overall theme of our technology vision, and that underpins, I think, what we are all feeling. That technology is simply becoming more human. It is displaying more and more human capabilities and features that we felt that make us human. But it's also how we can interact with technology, with language, through more sensors and in the three-dimensional world. So that's a bit the summary. I could stop here, but I have a few more slides to share with you and walk you through. But before talking about a vision, perhaps it's also good to look what a few people said. Our previous Chancellor, Helmut Schmidt, said if you have visions, you should go and see a doctor. So he had a very interesting view on this topic. Niels Bohr said, predictions are very difficult, in particular if they pertain to the future. And William Gibson, who gave us Neuromancer and who was like very much a visionary of the metaverse and cyberspace, in the 1980s he already said, the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. And I think building up on his statement, the future is already here, I think that's something that probably many of you can relate to. Who of you believes the future is already here? So, okay, yeah, so I think I believe the same. And I think it's a daunting task to write a technology vision in times where all this is happening at the same time. When you look at that the GPT-4 is already able to pass the bar exam for the US law schools, better than the average students. Where Open Water is working on a brain interface to detect strokes via waves across the brain and is able to predict epileptic seizures. Or where Tesla is making, and many others are making, very, very fast progress in humanoid robotics. And I can only encourage you to watch the space of humanoid robotics, because that's the next thing that is really going to change our life. In particular, for many of the young people here that entering into the workforce or that have many years ahead of yourself, can only say fasten seatbelts. Fourth example, it is also already a few months old, a prototype that Carnegie Mellon University did, developing an AI agent that can interact with the physical laboratory via APIs and that can start to, on a single prompt like synthesize ibuprofen, can start researching the internet, understand what ibuprofen is made up of, and starts the synthesization process in the laboratory by itself. So this is all happening. So how do you write a vision when all this is reality already? But let's look back on the role technology plays. And this chart is, I think, an impressive baseline of where technology has helped us to evolve humanity over the last 1,000 years. This is the economic output in GDP on the world, plotted over the last 1,000 years, and you see the technology innovations plotted on this chart that have helped to make human lives better, to extend the human lifespan, to make human wealth greater, our health better. And you see a exponential curve on a logarithmic scale. You see an exponential curve on a logarithmic scale. So that means something really crazy is going on with regard to the speed at which things are developing. And there are two moments in which this curve takes a twist. It's at the beginning of the steam engine. You have a acceleration. The industrial age started. And the second real twist was the beginning, the invention of the transistor and the start of the silicon age in the early 1970s. And since that time, basically that whole progress has been attached to the digital world, the computer, the internet, the mobile phone, all based on Moore's law that said like every 18 months the price compute performance of systems double, and every business model attached to this is going to thrive. And we've seen Amazon, Google, Facebook, and all the other, Intel and all the other companies thriving on this. And that curve is not finished. It has this word AI at the end. And if you look at AI, something happened in the last 15 years. What is the basis of our technology vision, this human by design? Because technological systems have started to display human capabilities. They have entered the cognitive realm. They've started to do things we felt that were very special to make us human. First in the sensing space, like handwriting, picture recognition, object detection, but then also from the 2017 onwards in the creative space with the invention of the transformer architecture, GPT, General Pre-trained Transformer, the ability of technical systems to create things. First, like language, code, DNA sequences, and you see that in many of these disciplines, the human performance level has already been attained, and it's getting actually harder every quarter to find benchmarks to differentiate really what humans can do and what these AI systems can be doing. So this is the age we are in. It's a moment where AI and technology is becoming very much in displaying human capabilities. It can, and what we see, and I think many of you feel the same, it brings us back, it brings me back to the question, what really makes me human? Because many of the things I felt that are making me special, these systems can be doing. So this is the fundamental change. And it's happening not only for us as individuals, but also for the big enterprises that say, hey, wow, we have all these technologies, and what can we do with them to gain competitive advantage or to avoid being disrupted and being eliminated from the economic sphere? And that is happening in two different angles, and they are listed here. The one is the productivity angle, right? These systems, everybody of you is surely working with one or the other generative AI that can take routine tasks away from us. Summarize text, research some stuff, translate a text, but that has direct implications also to enterprises in the contact center, in the back office, to eliminate a lot of routine stuff that we also find fairly boring. But that's only one angle. The other one is the creative one. These systems are creative. They can create new artifacts that are actually quite surprisingly interesting. That transforms the way how we will do marketing in the future, how we can personalize marketing campaigns, images, texts, emails, even videos for you different than for you than for you. So that will transform how we do research and development, how we do product development, how we do marketing. These are the two fundamental angles, and that is a really new era, what it says here, of human potential that companies now must seize to make sure they are not being disruptive by new entrants. Because if you look the last 20 years, 50% of the companies in the S&P 500 index, the largest companies in the world, have been eliminated. They are not there anymore because they have been disrupted by other players. And this technology has the power to disrupt industry, every business, every process in every industry, the way how governance are being run in a very, very significant way. So there's a big opportunity, but there's of course also a challenge. And that challenge is around how do we do this in a human way? How do we create a future in which this is working for us and we are not working for the machines, where we feel we are seen as humans and we can contribute in the workplace as individuals, where work is being shaped in a way that it is interesting for us, engaging and fulfilling. And that we avoid all the new risks that are being introduced through artificial intelligence. This is the risk of introducing biased data, you know about hallucination, you know about the copyright problems that are being evolving. So there's a whole new sphere for companies, if they want to deploy this, to get right. So that's a bit the context, and that's the underlying big motion that I know all of you are feeling like I am doing. So now to the vision. It says human by design, and we always have an overarching theme, and then we have underpinning trends. And this year we have identified 4 trends that make this human by design a reality. And let me go through each one by one. Where's the counter? I have some time. First one, a match made by AI. A match made by AI is about how these new systems will change the way how we research, how we discover knowledge, and how we can access information out there in a much more personalized way through much more simple interfaces, that nobody will go to the library or to the basement and go through a lot of folders and tries to find something, but they will just use a prompt to find that information. So disrupting the way how we manage knowledge. That's a match made by AI. The second one, Meet My Agent. It's about we'll get new co-workers in the working space. All of you in your lifetime will be working with AI agents that have autonomous roles in a company that will fulfill certain roles, and you will interact with them. An AI agent is an AI system that you give a goal, an objective, and it goes away, it does the work, it plans what it needs to do, it has access to tools, it can research the internet, it might be able to operate a machine, it might work with other AI agents, and come back when a decision by you or by me or by some human is required, or when the task is done. This age of agents is just starting. Third, the space we need. We like 3-dimensional space. We don't like to be confined to a laptop screen or to a mobile phone screen. We think 3-dimensional, and the space we need picks up the continued proliferation of 3-dimensional technologies, which has been very much fueled by the more and more sophisticated digital twins, in particular in the industrial space. Everybody of you knows what a digital twin is? Digital twin, everybody? So it's a digital representation of a 3-dimensional object. More and more we have technologies like NVIDIA Omniverse or technology from Siemens and other industrial players to build high-resolution digital twins that are being fed with data, and that can be made accessible through XR, VR, AR devices like Apple OmniVision Pro to experience this really in the 3-dimensional world. And the fourth trend is our body's electronic, and that is about how am I interacting with technology? What sort of sensors are around me to observe me, to understand what I want to do, and to control complex technology through gesture, through eye movement, through up to using the brain-computer interfaces. So these are the 4 trends, and every of these trends has something to do with how we as humans want to work with technology, how we access information, how technology becomes more human through agents, how we experience technology in the 3-dimensional world, and how we interact it with new types of sensors. So I have a bit of time left. Let me give at least one example each. A match made by AI, transforming the way how we search for information and how we get it curated back to us following the intent that we were giving the system through a single prompt. Anybody of you uses Perplexity? Quite some arms go up. I mean, Perplexity didn't exist 12 months ago, and now half of the people in this room know it. This is like a new way how you access information in the internet and get basically a Wikipedia article written for you on the fly. This is for us as consumers. The same will happen in the enterprise. where the enterprises are building an enterprise knowledge brain, condense and collect all the information enterprises have, documentation, research, customer interactions, social media information, external data that is relevant for them, and make this available through a prompt engine or through a natural language interface. Example, Beiersdorf, German consumer goods companies, probably many of you know Nivea, the cream, yeah? They are a market leader in this space. They have built B-Essence, which is exactly that kind of function for their research department. Having all the research documentation, public substance databases attached to it, all the history of Beiersdorf products in there, that makes research for them so much easier. Next one, Meet My Agent. I talked about what an agentic system is. It's a autonomous AI system that you give a task that can plan, that can reason, that can then follow a sequence of steps, potentially using tools, and then coming back to us once the task is done or when a decision is done. And these AI agents might actually start interacting with each other. One good example is in the software development world, MetaGPT. Anybody knows about MetaGPT? It's kind of a system that builds individual roles in the software development process. The product owner, the scrum master, the architect, the tester, the developer are individual AI systems, and you just give it a prompt and say, whatever, I want a insurance claim system, and then this thing starts to develop. It starts to build the design document, build the user stories, build the test conditions, write the code, build the architecture, deploy it, and so on. These systems become quite sophisticated, and we will see a lot of progress in 2025 with this kind of technology. And as I said, these AI agents will become part of the workforce in basically every enterprise we can imagine. So fasten seatbelts and be prepared to work with those type of colleagues. The space we need. I mentioned Apple OmniVision Pro. I mentioned NVIDIA Omniverse, which is a technology to build digital representation of real objects and run simulations in the cyberspace and not in the physical world. And more, this is strongly being adopted, in particular in the industrial sector. We in Germany, we have one of the strongest industrial and machine Anlagenbau sector in the world. But every Anlagenbauer, every machine producer will need to have a digital twin part of their product and an experience in a three-dimensional world attached to it. Otherwise, their customers will not buy it in the future. They will say, hey, I want to simulate stuff before I have the machine on site. I want to see, does it fit into my environment? Can my other machines interact with it? So that digital twin becomes a super important element. Our body's electronics, last but not least. Sensors get more cheaper and get more and more deployed everywhere. I mean, think about what the GPS chip did to us as consumers when it was starting to be deployed in every mobile phone. What sort of use cases, what sort of new experiences were created through this? Apple, in the OmniVision Pro, they have an eyeball tracking. And I don't know who of you have used it, but it's a super interesting experience to have a system that observes where you are looking to. Some of the modern cars have this. Another interesting sensor application is SmartCap. It's a company that produces production helmets for large construction sites. But it has a sensor that observes you and your brain energy and can detect fatigue of a worker in the workplace. So it will alarm you as a worker when it's becoming unsafe for you to be in this place. So it's a completely new way how apparently dumb objects are interacting with us and are becoming super smart and aware of the environment and help us to interact with technology. Up to what Elon Musk is doing with Neuralink, they're making a lot of progress in this space with implants, or what I mentioned about open water, who are using a ring around the brain and ultrasound to interact with the brain in many different cases. So that's the story of our technology vision. In summary, technology becoming more human on one end, having human capabilities, but also more and more ways for us as humans to interact with technology in a much easier way, a much intuitive way. If you think today in modern SAP system, until you have found what you want to do in SAP, probably half an hour is gone. That will be gone in the future, where you will talk to the system or you will interact it with gestures. Or if you look on your mobile phone, you want to change a setting. I mean, everybody of us knows how complex it is to find anything on these damn phones. That will change very soon because we will be able to interact with them in a very natural way. So we are working with the large organizations in Accenture to adopt these technologies and drive competitive advantage from them to reinvent themselves on the basis of this technology. And we are telling them basically 5 things that they need to do. The first is, you can do many things, but you need to lead with value. Really focus on where's the value for you. Don't try 1,000 things out. Focus very quickly on those where you have a business case, where you can really make a dent for your consumer, for your processes, for your efficiency. The second one, there's a lot of technology renovation required. Build a digital core that makes the data available in a consistent and normalized way, that has the AI on top of it to drive and generate insight, and a modular architecture to drive then outcomes into your business processes from this. This is our future vision of a digital core. Third, the workforce. This is not a technology topic, it's the question of how we work in the future. What will the future work in marketing or in sales or in research or in product development be when you have these AI agents, when you have powerful systems? How will we work? What skills do we need? So think about this. Think about your future work, the workforce, the worker, and start that transformation program. And fourth, I mentioned all the risks, bias, copyright, hallucination, new security risks. How will consumers and your own people accept this? Only if you do this in a responsible way. So that must be a core discipline of what companies have to do in the future, is have a responsible AI program. So, and this is a cycle. You don't do this once, you do this continuously. So that's our vision. If you are interested into this, talk to our colleagues on the booth, or we have a few minutes, I think, for questions. Thank you for your interest and happy to take some questions. Thank you.
Indeed, there is some time for at least 1 or 2 questions, depending on how long. If there is a question, raise your hand. I'll be coming up to you with a microphone. You don't have to be shy. There's a question.
Yeah, perhaps also if you have some feedback on the vision, if you think it's correct or if you think something is missing, would also be interested to see. And our new vision is coming out in January. Your question.
I have 2 questions actually. How does Accenture addresses ethical concerns in AI development? And my second question is, you talked about AI agents. How would humans perceive these AI agents in the future, in the near future? Like, would they perceive them creepy, or how would these AI agents integrate in the workforce? Of course, there are a lot of like positive advantages and stuff, but how would they actually perceive them?
Yes, I think that's a very interesting. Let me answer the second question first. I think there's a lot of research required and a lot of also psychologist support in how we integrate these AI agents into the workforce, and also what the user interface needs to be, that they are accepted. So I think in the moment, the interface often is a prompt and a very fine confined agent with a clear task, what they have to do. And I think that is, in Accenture, we do the first tests in our own marketing department. We have campaign managers that are AI agents that are driving, planning marketing campaigns. And I think, but we need to do a lot of psychological study work as well, whilst we are deploying this, how we get the acceptance right. So I think there's a lot to learn in this space. And your other question, I did not completely understand. So can you repeat?
My first question was, how does Accenture address the ethical concerns in AI development?
The ethical concerns?
Yeah.
Yes. I think this this point on the responsible AI gap, we think it is super important and help our clients to establish responsible AI function in their company, starting with defining, hey, what do we consider as our key policies? What do we think is ethical behavior for us? And then understand like copyright, hallucination, worker implications, all these sort of things. And then from this, identify all the risks. So really have a risk management discipline enhanced through all the AI related topics. But then also test your systems accordingly. Do they have that behavior, and monitor them on an ongoing basis? So we feel this is super important, because if we as consumers do not trust the companies, we will not buy their products or use their services. Same for the employees. They will not, as you mentioned, the AI agent acceptance. If we don't feel this is done in an ethical way, the employees will not accept this as well. So this program is important to the success of this technology. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you guys so much. A big applause again for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you have any other questions, you can obviously ask them yourself to Tobias right down there or at the booth.
Yes, thank you.
The booth is right there.
Thank you.